Excuse me, can I please talk to you for a minute?
Sure. You know, you look kind of familiar.
Yeah, you do too. I just wanted to know, do you know a podcast named The Podcast Is Mine?
Oh, I know that podcast.
I just wanted to let you know that it's mine.
No, it's mine. Hello, and welcome to The Podcast Is Mine. I'm Bhushan Kumar.
And I'm Sunny Gruel.
Oh, is that who you are?
I beg your pardon.
I was like, who is this person who turns up to every record and like kind of sits next to me and their voice
And then we
comes
switched out seats.
And then we switched out. We have, listeners, today, it's revolutionary, isn't it? For the first time ever.
I know,
in the
I'm being
history
versatile.
So a double first.
Double? Oh.
So double first. For the first time, we've actually switched positions, which has like never happened in the history
revolutionary.
of TPIM. It's like, you know, in America's Next Top Model, when there was like something and she'd be like, for the first time in America's Next Top Model history, they were like the pictures were printed on Kodak printed paper instead of like A4 in the copier.
It was definitely A4 paper, wasn't it? It was not a proper photo.
Do you remember when she threw that paper at the contestant once? It just flapped in the air.
It probably went back to her
exactly.
like a frisbee.
Then we knew that it wasn't like proper paper, honestly.
Dear.
So yes, world first. So how very exciting, everybody. Well, as usual, so I hope you've got all your water topped up and everything, because what have we got? Another exciting episode.
This is one, I think it's going to be one of my favourites. I can tell it already.
And we say that after the start of every episode. We're always excited to talk about what we're going to talk about.
That's the only reason we pick our topics.
Exactly. So this is no exception today. So what we're doing today, so I'm going to open up the Secret Diary of His Own One Ho.
So should we do that? They get the tab open.
Exactly. So your acrylic's tapping away on that screen there.
Oh no! Something's gone wrong.
Sonny's broken the diary.
Oh,
no,
no,
she's okay. She's okay.
back.
Thank
We've
God.
rebooted her.
So I thought what we could do today is we are going to talk about reality TV shows, which we absolutely adore.
We covered in season 1, didn't we?
I mean, within the first minute we mentioned America's Next Top Model. That's how into reality TV we are.
Yes.
So before we dive into today's topic, I thought we could revisit some of the shows that we discussed in our Reality TV Palooza. So in season 1, we did a Reality TV Palooza where we discussed 3 of our favourite shows.
Oh my goodness. Iconic shows.
And what were the shows, Sonny?
They were Real Housewives of Atlanta,
Well done.
Below Deck, and Selling Sunset.
It's written right in front of you, for goodness sake.
It's under pressure. It's a lot to remember.
With the real Sunny Gruel, please stand up. Please stand up. Please stand up. Because I don't know who you are. Do you see why I was right to verify your identity? Should have got a text
more thorough
code
than my bank.
I know. It's like a Google device. I should have sent you a little text code or something. Yes. So those were the 3 shows. So let's start with Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Oh, yes.
So thank you, first of all, for recommending this OG show for me to watch. And you told me that season 3 and 4 are some of the greatest reality TV shows ever made. And I was like, girl, you need to stop with the hyperbole. And you weren't wrong.
I remember when I first told you about the show and we covered it on the first season. Mm-hmm. This is some of the best. This is the best franchise of Real Housewives, definitely. I think it's got some of the best episodes. But these seasons, the South Africa trip, which I know you're gonna go.
God!
Oh my goodness, that I have seen that so many times, and I remember when that actually aired at the time, thinking this is just ludicrous. But I feel like you need to set the scene for this season because you've seen it more recently than I. Because I know it recently aired on Netflix.
Yes. So what Netflix are doing is they're giving us 2 seasons and they take them away and give you the next 2 seasons. So seasons 1 and 2 are off now, but season 3. I remember. Do you remember when you? Normally, I'm telling you what to watch.
Yes.
And you actually texted me to say, "Look, Real Housewives is on Netflix now," and I was like, "Oh my God!" Like I thought you'd been hacked. Because remember,
so this is not real.
I know exactly. It's all about verification today. Yes. So season 3. So that's the time with the cast, especially before Nene became a superstar. So you can see in season 3 that she's about to go on Celebrity Apprentice, and also in general the ladies are much more recognised because seasons 1 and 2 have aired. People know who they are. There's even in the moments in the show as well where people say, "Oh, you know, I think Kim and Sheree are having a walk or something like that along the street, and people are honking at them because they know who they are."
Yes, you're right.
So there's all, and then also they also talk about Twitter a lot, and Twitter was the big thing at that time.
I was just going to say the same. Yeah.
So you know there wasn't Instagram yet, but so there's a lot of they're on the turn. And what's interesting is if you watch season 3 and then you go to season 4, so Nene's then been on Celebrity Apprentice. She mentions that awful man quite a few times and how she's taken his influence.
Goodness sake.
But also her
He
ego
who shall
is...
not be named.
Yeah, exactly, Voldemort. And her ego is massively inflated.
Oh my gosh, it's genius, isn't it?
It's so... I mean, like, first episode of season 4 kicks off with her and Sheree having a massive Barney about... And then, like, you know, in the reunion, they talk about how if Nene recommended Sheree to the producer, she had to fight for her.
This is a funny thing, because I remember now it was basically over a job. So the thing that we don't always see on the show is that obviously they're being filmed in their lives, but they're not filmed doing their other jobs as such, which is probably promoting something on some kind of radio show or something or the other. And I think Sheree had been invited to an event, but Nene had said, you don't want to hire her for something. And then I think they were getting angry about losing money on some kind of opportunity. But it makes me laugh how in those early stages, it's very kind of season 1 filter for Drag Race. Where I think about, it's like they don't know they're going to be really big. Yeah. And they're really candid. They're not always dressed super well. There's a lot that people take the mickey out of their appearance, and they tend to start fixing that, don't they? And that is one of the central parts of that fight with Nene and Sheree.
Fix your face. Do you remember? Fix your teeth.
It's because Sheree and Nene are arguing about this job that Nene stopped her from Sheree from getting, and then Sheree's like, oh, because, you know, Nene's like, oh, because I'm rich now. She's like, no, she's like, what? She's like, I'm just trying to let you know what time it was. And she was like, well, what time is it? She's like, the time it is, it's I'm a very, very rich bitch. She's like, if you're rich, then why don't you get those mother effing teeth fixed? Oh my God. It's such an amazing quote. She was like, I've had them. They're done. And she was like, I remember when you had those rotten teeth. The way they go for the gut with the jug.
Nene walks out, and then the irony of that whole conversation is no one pays for the wine. That's production. Who ended up having to pay for that?
This is the thing I wonder. Do they have an expenses budget for that stuff when they go out for like lunches and?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're not paying out their own pockets.
No,
and they're smart ladies. I don't think they would be the kind of people who'd be like, oh, don't worry, production, and we'll get this for you. No, that's Bravo expensing it all the way. If some runner doesn't get paid or doesn't get to eat that day, it doesn't matter. Those ladies need their vino or their rosé. Exactly. But I mean, there's so many. Before that, I mean, I've jumped ahead to season 4, but season 3, I remember you warned me about the Nene and Kim fight, and I was not ready for it. I really Nene.
Is that after South Africa?
No, so it's before South Africa. So
remind me what happens on the Nene.
This was so Kim and Candy are doing a promotional tour of some sort.
Oh, that is on the
bus to Miami to the girls' retreat. And
goodness.
then, like, I think it's because Kim brings Sweetie and somebody else.
Don Juan.
Don Juan. Oh yeah. And then
that's Candy's manager, isn't it?
Yeah,
he was also on the bus.
But then I think Nene's upset that because she said that she just thought it'd be her and Kim, and she didn't want others on the bus, which is just it seems absolutely ridiculous. I mean, that bus is like tiny, and also the whole thing of them taking a bus, no one would do that because
it's a tour bus.
Exactly. God.
It's not the 205.
No. And if you want to know more about the 205, you must subscribe to our OnlyFans podcast, where we've got a very special Mediterranean edition.
Yeah, we do.
On that. Oh, God. But that whole argument, I mean, it really. It just
so
blows
what is
up.
the scene? Remind us of the scene of that.
Do you know what it is? It's so funny. With half of these arguments, I can't remember how they start. It just seems 1 minute they're talking naturally, then it'll be the dramatic sound effect that alerts you that, oh no, something just went down.
The music has just changed. Because I think it was that Kim had... No, sorry, Nene was... That's it. She had started a new job as a host on a TV show. She was doing an entertainment segment.
Right. Jermaine Jackson.
That's it. Yeah, she was interviewing Jermaine Jackson. No, Jermaine Dupree.
Oh, sorry. Oh my God, I'm cancelled. Bhushan's been cancelled.
You're cancelled. You're totally cancelled. So Jermaine Dupree was being interviewed by her, and I think Kim turned around and said, "Oh, she's like." No, because she insulted Kim, didn't she, on the interview, saying that, oh, maybe Kim is like, trying to sing and she can't. And Kim got really annoyed with that and said, well, at least I'm not an intern on 11 Alive. I was like, And she was like, an intern? I was like, these guys are so harsh to one another.
So hardcore. They are so harsh to each other. It's just absolutely hilarious. That is just like a trailer for what is to come when they go to South Africa. So, I mean, after all that kind of shebang about don't bring other people on the bus, when it comes to South Africa, originally it's meant to be just the core cast going.
Yes.
And then Nini brings Marlo along.
No, and Diana.
And Diana.
And Diana.
Who's Diana again?
Diana's the moose that everyone calls her a moose. I think it was Kim would call her a moose.
I can't even remember who she is.
She's so basic. She's just irrelevant.
God.
She's one
Oh my
of
God,
those
she's like the
backups.
Davina.
Yes, she's a Davina from
Selling Sunset. Oh God.
She's just irrelevant.
But that fight. So basically, what happens? There's a comment made. So there's
now I
two
remember
fights,
this.
wasn't there? So there's one is, but the big one is the one in South Africa when Sheree. So it's the Smalls versus the Talls.
Yes.
So the Talls are Cynthia, Nini, and Marlo.
Yeah, and the Smalls are almost midgets.
No, midgets.
what she
Phaedra, Candy, and
Sheree.
And Sheree, yeah.
Sheree, yeah.
So what happens is Sheree's friend. So in South Africa, Sheree's friend invites Sheree to a dinner party.
Yeah.
And
She
Sheree
knew
only
someone that lived there.
Yeah.
Which is totally fine, yeah.
It's fine. And then like Sheree, Nini aren't on speaking terms at this point. So Sheree is only invites Phaedra and Candy to go with her. And so Nini's fine with that because she doesn't want to go. She doesn't really care. She's chill. But Marlo takes offense to that.
Oh,
and
God.
this escalates into like I've never seen two women fight like that.
Oh my God! Did you see? You know who the shit stirrer in that situation was? Cynthia.
Oh, Cynthia!
Because she did.
Oh my God.
She came downstairs and she was like, "Hi guys, just want to know how you are." And she was like, "Oh, I just wanted to ask, do you?" So Sheree says, "I just wanted to ask, do you want to come along to my friend's dinner?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm invited, but no one else."
Oh yeah,
and
that
she
was it.
like,
Cynthia got
and
invited.
then Cynthia
yeah.
goes upstairs. She's like, "Oh my God, girl, that drama." And then they were like, "What?" And they were like, "Oh, so you're invited, but Nini's not." And she was like, I was like, that is exactly not what happened. I was like, you added so much spice to that. And then Marlo's like, "But what about me?" She was like, "Yeah, you're not invited too." And she goes down there all in like a huff and puff. And oh my, the clash between Sheree and Marlo. It was, what did Candy describe it as? Like a fight between like two major boxers. Was it Pacquiao and I can't remember the other one, but
oh God.
so...
I think that was where my favorite insult came, where she was like, "You return stuff at Neiman Marcus." And she's like, she labels Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, spouting labels at each other, and it's like, who gives a damn?
They are so hilarious.
And there's one bit where they don't even speak words anymore. You know, they're just like,
I remember watching that, and I rewatched it when I think I went home that weekend, and my mom was watching it with me, and she's like, "What is this?" And I was like, "It's amazing, isn't it?"
God.
I was not ashamed to say I rewatched that so many times, that clip. It was like, because that's when Marlo has a criminal past. Do you remember?
well, duh.
Yeah.
That's inferred here. And does that get exposed later on in the season?
I think, do they show pictures of her mugshots in that season?
No. So basically, it's inferred that she's got. She gets cussed for having like she likes rich white men, apparently rich old white men, and she brings like this dude to like this fundraiser. Who's clearly like, you know, like you just know.
She was paid as an escort, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. And like, there's no shame in it. I mean, like, she had to make a living from it and stuff. And you know,
that was a brilliant one, because I remember when Marlo turned around to Candy and said, you know, because Candy was like, "Oh, who are you here with?" And she was like, "Oh, that's Charles."
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. Charles, we'll call him. And she was like, "Oh, the white guy." And she was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "You know, do you want me to introduce you to like a white guy?" And she was like, "What?" And Candy's like, "I don't have a type." And then she didn't look convinced what she said. I think she was just joking. But Marlo turns around and was like, "Oh my God, I can see you praying." Candy's like, "Lord, please send me a thug." I was like, "Oh my God."
Oh,
it
God.
cracked me up so much. They just call it out so bad.
And yeah, it's exactly like you said. There's no filter on that season, honestly.
No.
But no, that is definitely one of the best seasons. And if you
Of
haven't seen
reality
it,
TV.
reality TV, and even if you haven't seen season 1 or season 2,
Just watch
you
it.
can watch it because you can. And so at the time of recording, it's still on Netflix, and I think it's on Hey You in the UK and Bravo in the US. So please do find it and watch
Pay
it.
for it, whatever it takes.
Don't be stingy like me and not pay for it. Oh God! So anyway, we're going to move on to another show that we discussed, which was was Selling Sunset.
Yes,
So, two quick things I wanted to say about Real Housewives of Atlanta that I wanted to mention.
Go.
So, again, at a time of recording, Nene has left the show.
I know.
And has been dissing Andy, which has been really interesting.
It's been getting really dirty.
Really dirty. But we still, I certainly don't know what the reason is behind that. I don't know if you know.
So I'm trying to think, what was the last? She wasn't in the last season. Yeah, she wasn't. And I think she's probably had 15, 16 seasons.
Yeah. She probably
run
had
its
enough, to be
course.
honest.
And I think it was getting to the point where she probably wasn't really enjoying it and just lashing out.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. I mean, so it would be interesting to see. And then sadly, Greg passed away. So Nene's husband. And that's so sad because he really was like a calm point in the storm of all of this. And what was good, he really gave it a really great representation, I thought, in the show. Because everybody does, there are positive elements to be there.
Absolutely.
But
we talk about the drama because it's funny.
We love that. We focus on the drama because that's who we are. But Greg was, that's who we are, exactly. But it was very sad. So R.I.P. Greg, and like condolences to the family from TPIM, and we sincerely know because that was really sad news. Right, so let's move on to Selling Sunset.
Oh, another brilliant.
Now, we've got beef with Selling Sunset, and I'm Hindu, so I don't even eat beef.
Oh my gosh, give us your beef.
My beef with them is basically we kind of delayed the recording of this episode because we were hoping to get season 4 and talk about season 4. But season 4 is not released. And so otherwise this would have been a Selling Sunset episode. So it's really nice. But another update was Chrishell is now dating one of the midgets.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, is there, I posted on my Insta story, which some people found shady and most people laughed at. Water always finds its level. What? I was just saying, water always does find its level, Make of that what you will. But yes, so I think that's my last word on that. But I didn't know. What was your reaction to it?
I wasn't surprised, to be honest. I feel like it's a very incestuous environment anyway.
Yes.
And there was always conversation around Mary and one of the guys being
one of the midgets.
Yeah.
And, she dating the same midget as Mary?
What
was it? Brett and Jason.
Jason and
I think
it's BJ. Oh God. I mean, it'd be interesting to have a look, but no.
They're the right height for it, let me tell you.
But I'm surprised it's taken so long. I know because of COVID things would have been slowed down, but they would have filmed the wedding during COVID or just as it hit. So then they've had plenty of time. It's been a year and a half.
It's been, they've had time.
So what has happened, do you think?
I have no idea, to be honest with you. I think maybe the COVID protocols, or maybe they did this thing where they filmed season 4 and 5 back to back, which is why it took longer to do. Yeah. But in any case, we would have appreciated season 4 coming out earlier because we all as the world needed it.
And oh my gosh, you introduced me to that gift and it was genius. It's just so glossy. It's like The Hills 2021.
2021.
Yeah,
exactly.
Epic.
I mean, I had to rewatch series 3 to kind of like take the edge off my craving. And
I need to go back.
But it stands up to a rewatch. That's the great thing. It's
okay.
really, really good. So I was thinking again, like about how, Christine's wedding. So Christine recently, so she's got a book coming out and a makeup range.
Wow.
And you're going to love this. So she's got a lipstick that changes colour and it's patented.
Oh,
I know.
I feel like I want that.
I know. I want it already. And the book's ready to pre-order for next year. And she also revealed that at her wedding, she had COVID.
Oh my goodness.
So she had been in Dubai in 2019 and around that time. And so she was one of the first people to kind of have COVID. But she said that at the time, obviously, she didn't know what it was. So she was like high on steroids for her wedding day. Because just to get
mixed
through.
With the other concoctions of drugs she was probably on.
And all the Botox and what have you. But yeah, she's value for money and we love her.
Oh my gosh, she's so thirsty on Instagram. It's like I live for it.
We love it. We live for it. And then obviously, I was rewatching it again. I was also thinking about how Amanda got treated by the others.
Yeah, it was very unfair.
And I did feel for her because, on the one hand, they were telling us that she's going through a really difficult divorce. And on the other hand, the midgets are giving her a hard time when a property is not selling. And it's like, well, it's not her fault.
Yeah.
And then also like
There's no compassion there.
No, and then the whole Davina Adnan thing, the 75 million thing. I did feel a bit for Davina because I thought that she did get treated really unfairly.
Yeah.
At the same time, there was this great thing where they were going to see I think is it Jason's new apartment.
Yeah,
and, there's that big argument.
Beautiful. It's a nice place.
And then Christine's like, "Shut the fuck up! I'm arguing for you." That scene just cuts second time really badly. It's just kind of like, what?
See that?
You need to rewatch.
It.
Honestly, it's so funny.
No,
But yeah, anyway, so we're eagerly awaiting season 4.
Oh, gosh.
So hurry up with it,
Yes,
Netflix.
please.
They were apparently saying Thanksgiving 2021.
Okay,
is
fine.
the latest. So
Not too long.
maybe at time of release it might already be out.
It might
there,
be on now.
In which case, but we will come to it. It's on the manifesto, so don't worry.
Definitely season 3.
Season 4.
4.
So season 3 is already out.
No, for us.
For us.
Our season
Oh yeah,
3.
yeah. Our season 3. Oh, ooh, child.
I'm putting it out there.
Don't give trade secrets away.
It's the final season.
Yeah, that's right. Nini's left the franchise, and so has Bhushan. Oh goodness me!
No, we will get to that.
Exactly. So our final, the final show that we looked at was Below Deck,
The original
franchise, which is set in like the Bahamas and America. And season 3 and 4 came onto Netflix, and so now season 3 is your favorite. So I'm gonna give you control. You're gonna be up there in the the bridge. You're up on the bridge, steering that boat.
Rocky is all I'm gonna say. She most people will think of the boxer.
As a Rocky Balboa.
Yeah, it's basically him in a female that's on a boat working as a stew. Was she a stew? Wasn't she? But there's just one moment that sticks out in my mind when she's getting so annoyed with Kate. And is it Kate? It's Kate, isn't it? Yeah. And Kate's walking out the galley, and Rocky does this thrust of her hips, like as if to like say F you. And it's so epic. It's just so tongue-in-cheek and ridiculous, and it really is, it encapsulates what the show is about, which is these people are obviously not professional. That's not their real job, is it? A lot of them have just started out, than people like Kate, but it's just putting them under that kind of pressure. It's a boiling it's like a pressure cooker.
Yeah.
And it brings out so much tension, but those kind of hilarious moments where people get frustrated and it's caught on camera, it just cracks me up.
It is so funny. I mean, so for anyone who doesn't know, so Rocky is a third stew, isn't she? She's not a second stew, rather.
Oh, she has to have been third. She can't have been second.
So, and she's also a musical theatre student, I think.
Oh, that makes
sense. Do you remember
she was a mermaid? She was a mermaid.
One of the guests. So she was absolutely crazy. She was absolutely like off her rocker. But I mean, the thing is, season 3 was really stressful to watch because not only Rocky, who is just kind of messing things up, there was that guy Don, who he wanted to be an engineer, but he was actually he was on the deck crew.
Okay.
You know, green eyes. He had like a broken nose. He had a motorcycle accident or something, and then
tattoos.
Yeah, tattoos.
Hairy,
remember?
So
remember Rocky Rocky has a predilection for taking off her clothes and jumping in the water whenever she.
Epic. She was like a dolphin in the water, though,
She couldn't be stopped, honestly. But then Don did that as well, and Captain.
Yes, I do remember because they climbed to the top of the radio
to do a selfie as well. Oh my god! And they got told off for that as well.
And then that's the kind of shit that we would do. To be honest, when I watched it, I was like, I would get on very well with that.
I know. I was like, that's the first thing I'd have done on there. And Captain Lee, tell him to get
Fashion Friday on the radio tower.
And you Captain Lee, tell him to get off the fucking mess, honestly. I love Captain Lee. It's like, I can't remember what his phrase is, but he just cracks me up.
He always
honestly.
has some crazy metaphor for like, comparing like how badly someone's done.
He just reminds me of those uncles at the Gurdwara who just do not want to be disturbed. And then after the prayer session concludes and you go downstairs to get langar, which is like, the offerings. And then he just wants a cup of tea. He wants his food. No one should come and talk to him. Exactly. And then when after he's done, then he's like, right, time to go home. And he's the ride home. So you have to go when he wants to go. That is the vibe he gives me.
That's an amazing analogy.
Exactly. And in every culture has one. Like that uncle or that granddad.
I can see him in a turban.
Yeah,
I've already seen him with a jungle on his head.
I could just see him sitting in the Gurdwara, just kind of like sitting there and as you walk in, you'd be like, "Sat Sri Akal, uncle," and he'd just be like, he won't even say
He wouldn't smile. He'd just like,
Yeah, there's uncles who don't even say Sat Sri Akal back. No, but if you don't say Sat Sri Akal to them, they'll check you.
You're going to find
You get
out.
checked.
Mum's going to tell you to say it.
You get checked. He goes and tells your mum, your son didn't say Sat Sri Akal to me.
Oh,
Goodness me. But there was Chef Leon who
He was from Manchester, I think, wasn't he?
Yes.
Or Birmingham, I think. It was definitely Northern or Midlands.
Northern, I think he was. And he had only cooked on cruise ships, so he wasn't used to cooking on luxury
Was he
yacht.
the one that kept doing the beef cheeks?
Yes. Do you remember he kept doing the
And
same
it was
old
like,
stuff?
not beef cheeks.
Oh, no,
again.
Kate.
Kate, yeah.
And so so there's one episode 9, which was the most stressful episode of the entire season, because first there's a fire on the boat because there's Leon goes to sleep and the guests want to eat something. So
oh God,
Kate, so Kate has to make a pizza. She puts it in the oven. It catches on fire because the oven hasn't been cleaned because it's full of grease.
Was that Kate or was it Rocky that set it on fire?
It was because Leon hadn't cleaned it because there's so much grease on there, and then so Leon should have gotten up and made them food, but he was like, no,
He didn't give a shit.
He's just like, put the Iceland pizza in there to turn it on. And then he leaves, and then Rocky decides to leave, and she leaves in the most dramatic fashion, where she takes off her clothes and jumps in the water and swims to another boat, only to have to come back
because the other people on the boat radioed theirs. It's like, we've got one of your staff over here, crew here, please.
And then obviously because they haven't got a chef, she's had chefing. She claims to have chefing experience and makes the worst salad ever. Like, I've been to Indian parties where the salads are better than that. Do you know what I mean?
She was like putting weird stuff like grenadine on oysters. They were like, are you sure about this? Like, we are going to take this out to the actual guests. She's like, yeah, it's going to be amazing. And I'm sure they were all like, oh my goodness, if this was not being filmed, we would all be fired.
Oh my God, it was madness. And then, and I remember there was a point in that episode where I looked at how much of the episode was left, because it's a 45 minute. I remember only 20 minutes had gone, and I was like, this feels like 3 episodes already.
It's so epic.
Oh my God.
I need to go back to that one.
It's such a great episode. And then the only quick other thing I wanted to talk about was in season 4, so Kate as a lesbian and her hot Spanish girlfriend.
Yeah, she
the
did.
army lady who was like so fit, honestly.
I remember that, yeah, because she came on the boat, didn't she?
Yeah, do you remember she came on the boat? Yeah. Do you remember they go to that resort for the day? Because the owner, and that's like in air quotation marks, the owner decided to give them a day off to relax.
What? Yeah, the production.
Not Bravo.
Yeah,
like,
Bravo's like, we need you guys to get drunk and start causing drama.
Well, they do one better. They're going to have sex in the toilets, don't they?
They do. You hear it?
Yeah,
we heard it. I do remember.
You know, and it was just like kind of very. It was all very. I think everyone else kind of doesn't know how to, because then there's that whole Ben and Kate storyline. But I think Kate is too good for Ben.
She's way better than. I do not like Ben at all. I mean, we'll go into this later because we've got more to unpack. But no, not my favorite.
Yeah, no, I don't rate him either. But anyway, do you know what? That Diary of His Own One host stretched out.
Oh my God, more than
exactly.
That's Sudafed.
And if you want to know that, if you want to know about that, you need to subscribe to the OnlyFans. The OnlyFans is such a great companion to this podcast.
It's so popular as well.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to close the Diary of His Own One Ho.
Yeah, let's close that tab.
And we're going to go to our main feature presentation. Okay, so it's now time for our main feature. Yay! So I'm going to take you to the bridge. So, as we've always proudly proclaimed, reality TV is one of the core, CORE, tenets of our friendship.
It is.
So it was a no-brainer to bring back our Reality TV Palooza for season 2. So whether you're a fan of reality TV or not, and if you're listening, we bet you are, one cannot deny that for those who love it, reality TV is the place to get lost in another world. Mm-hmm. So this time, we've picked 2 shows to put under our TPIM spotlight. Yes. So the first show we're going to talk about is Queer Eye.
Yay!
So Sunny, what are your thoughts on Queer Eye?
When I first heard of this coming back, I was like, what? I was like, they're going to ruin it. They're going to ruin it. Because I do remember, believe it or not, I actually do remember this.
But hang on,
I know I'm so much younger than that.
You watched ANTM as a toddler. So how do you know about Queer Eye for the Straight Guy?
I'm just hoping that no one can do maths and they can figure out that I was old enough to know.
Unless it's a discount in a shop. I can't do no math at all. So you're fine. I got you covered.
Oh, God. But yeah, so Queer Eye actually originally aired probably 20 years prior to this. I can't remember doing the research, but it was the Fabulous Five. I don't know if they still call them that now, don't they?
I think the Fab Five was coined by the...
Oh, whoops. Was this a recent one?
I think the recent one, yeah, exactly.
Oh, dear. Whoops.
Getting your franchises mixed up.
But I remember the original. And is it Carson? Is the only one that I really
Yes,
remember?
I was going to say, well, Carson Kresley. So
Yes,
people
Carson
will know
Kresley.
from RuPaul's Drag Race as a judge.
Yes, you're right.
We actually did the fashion consultation.
Yes, he
in
did.
the original
Yeah,
one.
Yeah, but that I remember. It must have been on MTV back in the day. I think it was an MTV show. I can't remember how I watched it, but it was such a different time for the LGBT community. And the show had a different name. It was Queer Eye for the Straight Guy.
Yes.
And I remember thinking, wow, this is so revolutionary and breakthrough. They're going to have gay people like making over straight. Because that was always the thing people used to say, oh, I want a gay best friend to kind of be someone to laugh with, or, make over my boyfriend, that kind of thing. It was that kind of like, what was it, stereotype effectively.
Yeah.
But we played up to it because it was nice. It was like a way to bridging more tolerance, I think.
Yeah.
And then when they started talking about the reboot, they said the first show 20 years ago was about tolerance, and this is about acceptance.
Yes.
And I really like that message. I was like, you know what? 20 years has gone by and we're not in a perfect place at all. We've definitely moved so far ahead compared to where we were. But massive shout out to the people the five guys that did the original show, because they were legends to kind of kind of pave the way for these guys.
Absolutely. I mean, you're so right, because the representation at that time was hardly anything. I mean, it's hard to imagine now, but it's almost like what we were talking about with Real Housewives, that it was a time when like Twitter was like, this was even pre-Twitter.
Year 2000 earlier.
Yeah, earlier. Like, you weren't even conceived. But you know what? It was like the newspapers and you just didn't see this mentioned anywhere.
No.
And when it was mentioned in a very, there was definitely an agenda behind it. Like, it was always seen as other and like, as almost like morally wrong. It was projected in that way, even though it isn't. So it was a different time entirely. So for anyone who's not seen Queer Eye, so what we're going to do is, as I love to test you, I'm such an Asian uncle. Like, I'm always like, Sunny, what is 2 times 2?
Yes.
What is 3 times 3? What is 2 times 2?
4.
What is 3 times 3?
9.
What is 11 times 11?
121. Stop doing it now.
Oh my God, you got that one.
Yeah.
That always throws everyone, the 11 times 11. So I'm going to test you. So I'm going to ask you so I'm going to ask you, give me the name of the Fab Five and then tell me what
it's
they do.
120. Did I say 121? It's 122.
I don't know. I just know up to 10 times 10 and that's it. So tell me, name a member of the Fab Five.
Karamo.
And what does Karamo do?
Karamo is someone who really focuses on your well-being and your mindset.
Correct. I love that one of our friends, Robbie, calls him the redundant one.
Oh no,
which is mean, Robbie. You're so mean, Robbie.
But I like him because I feel like he's really brought to the front the mental health aspect.
Yes.
And that's a really good focus for, especially now, with Green Light to Talk campaigns, it's definitely at the forefront.
And also like he's appointed, like officially he's like culture.
Yes.
Is the little subtitle. Okay, name me another member of the Mad Five.
Anthony.
Fab Five even. Anthony. And what does Anthony do?
Oh, he's supposed to be a chef, but I don't think he's a chef.
Oh my God, all he does is heat up M&S ready meals. And then pretend they're his. It's like, and you just put a bit of cilantro on them and you're like, what the hell is cilantro?
I saw that little clip you sent me, the YouTube of them. There was like a spoof of it.
Yeah.
And the way the guy was holding all the food is the way that Anthony holds it as well. The way that he kind of clasps it with his hands, it was cracked me up.
So funny. All right, name another member of the Fab Five.
We have Bobby.
Oh yes. And what does Bobby do?
Interior design.
Yes. And then name another member.
Tan.
And what does Tan do?
He is Fashion Friday,
Yay!
but every day on Queer Eye. That was your role.
That's what I would be doing exactly. And you'd be Bobby then, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I'd happy to be Bobby. Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, because you're interior design.
Yes, I like that.
And then who's the fifth and fabulous?
The last but not least, by any means, it has to be JVN.
Exactly, Jonathan Van Ness. And what does Jonathan Van Ness do?
He is all about personal grooming, from memory.
And so I think it's a really good synergy between the five of them, isn't it? Like, it all works really well. And like, I mean, there's a lot of debate about who does what. Kind of. Like, for example, Bobby does seem to do.
Everyone says, I didn't realize this until I started seeing the spoofs. He does do a lot.
He does a lot of the, like, if we were to like think about
the time and
effort it takes, because I would say that, like, Bobby's probably the most labor intensive.
Yes.
Followed by Tan. And then I would say
Yes.
JVN and Karamo are equal pegging because
Yeah, I
the
agree.
grooming is that, and then Anthony just turns up with a M&S ready meal and just
Yeah.
like,
I mean, he looks beautiful and he's sweet, so I'm fine with that.
So, unpopular opinion time.
Why?
I don't rate Anthony very much.
Really?
I don't. I mean, I think it's because everyone's just really thirsty, and yes, he is very beautiful.
He
but
is gorgeous.
to be honest, if he wasn't pretty, I doubt he'd be in the Fab Five. Oh no!
To be fair, I imagine when he was cast in it, because he was never a chef, was he? I think he was an actor. And I mean, the rest of them, yes, that was, I think, their day jobs, from what I understand. So maybe they were just like, look, we want a read. Not that I'm saying the other ones aren't good looking. They're all attractive in their own way. But he's more, I don't know, got more broader classic appeal when it comes to, I don't know, everyone.
Well, I think also as well, he is bisexual, so I think he brings that element.
He? Oh, I
So he
didn't realise
represents
that.
that community.
Okay.
Because I think they've done a good job of trying to represent.
I agree.
So, for example, I think like JVN, I think identifies as they them.
Correct.
So
sorry, I
in terms
that,
of
yes,
like no, it's fine. Don't worry. I think it's the gender fluid and non-binary.
Non-binary, yeah.
And so we have different kind of elements of the community, and I think that's really, really cool. I think the format's really good as well. Like, it is very watchable, and each season they have kind of like pushed it further. I mean, my favorite ever episode was in season 4, episode 2, Wesley, which I actually was rewatching.
Is that the
recently,
one with the guy
in the wheelchair who got shot, and then Karamo actually gets him to see the guy.
Yes, I watched that clip. Oh my goodness, that's so emotional, Bhushan.
It was but it was just such a brilliant episode because then it was you don't actually see reality shows doing. They kind of do the quick fixes, like oh yeah, we're going to make your living room look pretty. We're going to give you a haircut. We're going to do that. Yeah. But because the other thing as well is like a lot of the kind of stuff. What I like about this here is like the styling and the grooming. It's things that people can maintain. Like, JVN's very much like, look, you've only got 5 minutes in the bathroom, so I want you to wash your face with this scrub, put some cream on, brush this comb through, brush this in your hair, and you're done for the day. And it's like, that's true. That's, how long we take, how much time you'd have. So I like that element. And I like the fact that it's not just, so obviously the older format was just straight guys.
Yes.
But here they've included women, they've included non-binary.
Even gay people.
Gay people, exactly. Not just one facet of the community, but they've tried to make it as inclusive and representative as possible. But that leads me to my next question. Do you think Queer Eye represents the LGBTQIA plus community accurately?
It's difficult for me to answer that question because I'm thinking about it from my perspective. And I feel like, yes, it's like you just hit those beats. They are very good at picking like a diverse group of minorities. It's not always the same. So, they'll pick someone that is, non-binary as a, someone to focus on. JVN himself is non-binary or identifies as non-binary. And then I think from my perspective, it's nice to see an Asian guy on there as well. Francis. It is France, sorry. So that's positive. I remember when I thought back to the original show, they had a Latin American guy, I think, doing the... What was his role? Was he the chef in that one?
Confession, I never watched the original.
You've not seen it? Oh, it's so good. When I compare it, it reminds me very much of the shows at the time, which was when you do like a house kind of makeover, they would spend... It frustrated me so much when I was a kid. It's like Grand Designs, which I loved as a show when growing up. But it's like spend 50 minutes talking about the journey, which is still fascinating, but then squeezing into the last 5 minutes before an ad break, after an ad break, the finished product.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on, like give us, I mean, I know it's nice to have that lead in, but there's no time for that. Can we just crack on and see the final result as well? But I think they've taken that so far now with these shows. The makeovers, and like, this is partly one of the reasons why people probably say Bobby does a lot. You don't see it because I think people forget that you just see the product at the end.
Yes.
And I think the difference with the other show is I don't remember them having elements, each person focusing on like different elements of their personality to help them move forward. They probably they definitely did, because I know Carson did the fashion and stuff. But it feels like in this one it is very what's the word? It's like Instagram. It's like very consumable, like in and out, done. Let's get them moved on. And I feel like with the stuff around, so one of the spoofs, I think they joked around how, I'm going to teach you how to cook and take care of your like diet by showing you how to make one thing. And that's the point. And it's like Tan's like, yes, he gives them a full closet, but I think how sustainable is it? Because can these people who unfortunately are not from like really privileged backgrounds, how are they going to afford to buy this stuff?
Yeah.
You've gifted them a whole load of nice stuff. They lived, a lot of them, in squalor.
Yeah.
So how are they going to maintain the cleanliness of the, like, have you taught them? Because they always kind of mock them at the beginning saying, what is this? Is it dirty? This, couch that you've got, this recliner, blah, blah, blah. I think you've got to probably give them, I'd be interested to know what kind of support do they get after the show. It'd be useful to know that they get some sort of support after.
Yes, I completely agree. I think because I say the show is not meant to represent an entire community but a section of it. But because my thoughts about it always was that straight people are going to watch it and think all gays are like that. So they'll go, every gay person will be able to make you over or make over your house or teach you how to cook or whatever. As you said, rightly pointed out, the show does try and push against that because it just shows, look, this is, and which I think the original was, even though it was a bit more nuanced, it didn't have room for that nuance, whereas this new version does have it. But yeah, I completely agree. I mean, it would be really nice to see kind of like the aftercare and the support. Like, do they, and I think like for some of them, like I think I've seen on Instagram, and actually it's really interesting that you said about Instagram, because the whole show does feel that it is for a shorter attention span, isn't it? Because the idea is meant, you binge like 4 of them in a row or something, 4 of the shows in a row, and then you're like, oh yeah, that's makeover done, and yeah, you barely get to digest it. And it would be nice to kind of see how they're doing afterwards. Like maybe they are planning a catch-up program.
Well, I'm sure I saw some catch-up on what did
because they do at the end of each episode. They do have that thing like when they're like, oh, they're having a party on the roof or something, and then they'll watch them, or they're all done up, and the idea is like you watch them have that kind of. But I don't know. I think you make a good point. Like the aftercare. It would be interesting to hear about that. And I think in terms of representation as well. Yeah, this is a great show. Kind of like I think because it's such a popular show and it's kind of very mainstream. I imagine it's a bit like RuPaul's Drag Race, where it started off being there was a small audience who understood what was about, but now it's such a wide audience. So I think Queer Eye might be on the same kind of
and I feel going back to your original question, sorry I was digressing, but in terms of does it represent it, I feel like it's showing 5 people do really positive things in the community and showing one another what it's like to support each other as well, because from what I see there is a genuine friendship there. I'm sure they get annoyed with one another, they're human, but that kind of, if that's what it's representing in terms of showing the LGBTQI plus community, did I miss? If it's showing that they are, supportive of one another, then that is a very good, role model for everybody to see, because that's what I feel like we probably needed more of in the last 10-15 years, because we were struggling to get accepted when the first show was on. But then I think a lot of the homophobic attitudes are within the gay community sometimes. So to see these guys come together and it not be about drama, I was really afraid this is going to be them pitted against one another after the show. But from what I see on social media, I mean, I'm not the best on social media, as you probably know. Sorry. And I if you could see Bush's face right now.
Yes, it's a picture of disapproval.
Oh, God, I'm so sorry.
I think the Dowager from Downton Abbey.
I've never seen it, I'm sorry.
Oh, good heavens. Make your point. Come on, wrap it up.
Sorry, the point where whenever I follow them on Instagram, I notice that they do support one another.
Yeah.
And that's nice. And then there's another bit that I wanted to quickly touch on with you, is how it is. And I don't think it was like this back in the day, or maybe we didn't get much insight into it because we didn't have social media, but there wasn't such a huge brand and business behind them, but they've got this huge identity. I feel like actually the show is probably making them a fraction of their money. It's just a great platform because look, it gives you access to a whole global audience. Whereas actually they're so clever at doing it. I mean, it's like a factory line almost with all the reality TV shows. I'm sure all the agents are like, okay, great, get a product, now let's wrap your name around it and license it to, and let's make it loads of money, because this is short term, so build something that's going to be sustainable.
Precisely that. I think the show is all about exposure. And yeah, you're totally right. It's created these superstars, and then like that whole Instagram effect, like, you know, oh, this is the moisturizer I use, this is the sofa I sit on, this is what I douche with, and that's what, you know, that's where they're making the money from. Like, but I would say I agree with you that, you know, the representation and is more positive, and also off screen as well. Yeah, it is wonderful to see how supportive the Fab Five are of each other, and that's good to see. That's exactly the kind of message that you want people to take from exactly.
I know I'm bad at social media, but I always like Bush's fashion.
You better, because, you know, as soon as before I come round, I just suddenly see these notifications pop up.
Yeah,
And
it's like, oh, Sunny's checking all of his notifications.
I was just like, damn right, because you missed one. So to kind of like conclude on Queer Eye, I want to know, who is your favourite of the Fab Five, and why is it Bobby?
Oh, you know what? Bobby is one of my favourites.
No, Bobby is the favourite. Thank you very much.
He is everybody's favourite. You know why?
No, Anthony's everybody's favourite. So that's why I was dissing Anthony
Is
earlier.
he? I mean, I find him very beautiful, but I think JVN's my favourite. I'm sorry.
Cool.
I'm
Yay.
sorry.
Okay.
JVN is my favourite. I think, you know why I like Bobby?
Yeah.
And actually all of them.
Yeah.
This is the other thing about the show. It is so emotional.
Yes.
I find it really difficult to watch it sometimes. I'm actually, the latest season, you're going to be shocked and horrified.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't finished it because I find I cry every episode.
Yeah.
And hearing like Bobby talk about the experiences he had, which was so unfortunate growing up and you know, in his community and his family not being accepted.
Yeah.
And those things really hurt them still, and there's none of it is for the camera, because every single one of them, when they talk about how they struggled to come out or have recently or still, it just still hits that nerve with me, and I feel, I don't know, I feel like a sense of kinship to all of them when I hear those kind of stories. But Bobby's in particular, I know he's done a lot to challenge himself, and what's really nice is one of the recent episodes I saw is they were focusing on someone who was in a church community, and he struggles to go back to church, doesn't he? And you know, they really tried so hard to kind of show him, like, you know, there's good experiences you can have and bad experiences in any sense of any community, and he was really willing and able to participate in that. And I thought that showed his character, didn't it?
It really did. No, so I was just going to say, because he had stipulated to the producers, I don't want to do a church.
Which is fair enough.
Which is fair enough,
It's
because
his choice.
but the fact that he showed that he was willing to work through it, and I just think there's something really solid and dependable about him, and I like his manner, and I like the way he just gets on with it. And he's very, like you said, and I think also actually that kind of ties in with the representation thing, doesn't it? That the fact that you feel the kinship, and you feel that, like, you know, look, what these guys are going through, you know, someone who's been through it, or maybe you've been through it yourself, and it just, that's nice. And I think that they show people you know, the Fab Five, and by no means perfect, and they don't attest to be perfect either. They're very much like, look, we are all kind of in this together. And that kind of solidarity and that message of solidarity, I think, is a really lovely one. So your favorite is JVN, my favorite is Bobby. So that's good. I
love JVN. I feel like I just want him to be out with us all the time.
He would be so much fun, honestly. JVN, if you're ever listening to this, please come and hang out with us. You would have such a good time. And Bobby as well. Please
all of
come
them.
And everybody come at your
it's
open invitation. TPIM HQ.
Say, just DM us and I'll send you my address.
Exactly. TPIM HQ, and we will host a party for you. Sunny will get the air fryer out. If you're lucky. All right, well, do you know what? We're going to move on to our next show. So our next show kind of, do you know what I love about our podcast? Sorry, I'm going to take a moment to praise us here. Do you know how we, like, everything links back to everything? So, like, you know, this is like a murder mystery. Like, all the ends. It's like Harry Potter. Oh, no, Harry Potter, not Harry Potter.
Oh, sorry, I know, I forgot.
Because of that transphobe, yeah, exactly.
Is that right?
Just say franchise.
Franchise.
Yes. It's like a franchise.
It is a franchise, yes.
So I was going to say, so we're going to move on to our next show. So our next show is actually a spin-off of Below Deck, and it's called Below Deck Mediterranean. Yes. So what it is, it's obviously set in the Mediterranean, because the Below Deck seems to take place mainly around the Bahamas, and it's more American-centric.
Yes.
So, Below Deck Mediterranean, we've both seen up to season 5, and so I believe in the UK,
Yes.
Up to season 5 was on E4 because that's the only way I would have seen it. I didn't pay for it. And Sunny watched it properly on Hey You. So what are your thoughts on Below Deck Mediterranean?
So then you introduced me to this show. Of
course, I should get a fucking finder's fee. Do you know what I mean?
You are the
I should be charging commission.
You're the head hunter. In many contents, I'm sure. OnlyFans.
Stop giving away the content. They've got to pay for that stuff, remember?
Oh god, but I remember thinking, I don't know, I've been watching the original show. I'm not sure if it's going to be as good. And this is something I started in lockdown, and there were a couple of colleagues that were talking about it, and they said, oh, now I've started the Below Deck Mediterranean, and I thought, is it going to be as good? And oh my goodness, was it good? It was great. I loved that. So there's a different captain. So we have Captain, I've forgotten the first guy's name.
Captain Mark was the first captain.
Mark was
who
the first.
Useless.
He was, you know what I liked about him? He wasn't that authoritative and assertive. So it was kind
so you could DOS. It's basically like supply teacher energy.
That's what.
Supply teacher energy on a Friday where you're just like, I ain't doing the fucking worksheet. I am just going to gossip.
We're going to pretend when the teacher comes back that we did stuff that we didn't do.
You were just covering your tech folder at that point, weren't you?
I do remember when we had a supply teacher once. And I remember we lied when the actual teacher came back and he said, where is everybody's homework? And no one had done it. So he I mean, I was a goody two shoes. I'm sure you were too.
Of course.
And he said, he was like, Sunny, I can rely on you to tell me the truth. Where is, where did you put it? Did you do the homework? And I lied. I'm so bad. The integrity. No. I less that because I said, yeah, we put it there. We put it on your desk. And he looked back at me and I think he must have known I was lying. And I just thought, damn. But I lied. So it was that supply teacher was brilliant though, because we don't even remember him being in the room.
There's always, I love those supply teachers. You sit there. We had once this South African guy who was just reading, and he just ignored us the whole time. Like there was a fight happened in the back of the class. He didn't even batter an eyelid. Like I wish I'd known what he was. He was literally picking up the paycheck and going home. He did not give a damn at all. But I hated the way that teachers used to do that. They used to always pick on like the POCs in the sense that they'd guilt us because they knew that we used to.
Why?
Oh my god!
But we were all people of color in our group. In our list.
Oh my god! So you were the worst. No, because like with me as well. Like actually, I was same with me as well. Like it was me, but for some reason they would always like ask me, Bhushan, is that true or is that right? And it'd be like kind of, it'd be like Gladiator, you know, like the Emperor decides if you live or not. Thumb up or thumb down.
God, which teacher was Cobra?
Oh my gosh, I was at that school. No, Gladiator the film with Russell Crowe. Oh my god, I think that's Sudafed made you delirious, honestly. Well, let's bring this back on track. So
I'm just having images of Jet in like a
lifting her leg up, and it's like, what's that got to do with anything? I know I meant Joaquin Phoenix as that, you know, in Russell Crowe.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet. Sorry,
girl, that was out in like
exactly.
That film was 21 years old. It's about your age, just like. Oh goodness me!
Oh my god, we digress. We always do this.
So Captain Mark, supply teacher energy. Yeah,
supply teacher energy. So then he was the first captain, and I liked it because it was one guy that was totally skiving off every day. I can't remember his name, but he once said to Bobby, who we'll talk about later, he was like, what did he say? It was so offensive. He was like, you need to change your tampon to Bobby. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah,
and Bobby nearly punched him out.
I mean, he was really kind of like not a great captain. He was definitely not a people person, and he was very much that uncle in the Gurdwara who's shady, who would like, you know, ask you your GCSE results and demand to know what the grades were, as if he was going to be there and like, you know, give you £50 for every A you got. He was just, you know, I just didn't like the fact that he was a bit of a pussy, and he kind of not only did he.
Oh no, he didn't say that to Bobby. The guy that was clowning around and skiving off did. He was one of the other
one of the deck crew people.
I can't remember his name.
He was it
the one that was constantly on the phone to home crying to his mum.
Oh, I can't remember his name now.
He was from Lebanon.
Daniel.
Daniel.
Oh my god, Daniel. Oh, and then he was like, oh, you know, they're not your friends and all that. Because that whole thing really like triggered me. The whole thing is how Mark wouldn't deal with like the insubordination that was going on. Because Daniel was a problem, and like if that was a real working boat environment, Daniel would have been chucked off straight away.
Yeah.
No one would stand for that shit.
And that's why it was refreshing, because going from Captain Lee to Mark, it was such a stark difference. And I thought, there's no way a boat can run with someone that's got that style, I don't think. But then it surprised me because Captain Sandy is my favorite. But I have such a massive crush on her.
I bet you do.
I do. She is just, I love her.
She loves you too.
Oh,
do you remember there was that episode when she came in the kitchen? She's like, "It smells like India in here."
Did she?
So you know when Tom, Malia's boyfriend, was cooking, and it killed me. I had to pause it because I was crying after. So she's like,
smells like India.
"It smells like India." And she's like, "Have you been in India?" Like,
I do remember the small talk.
And she goes, "Have you been to like?" He's like, "Yeah, I've been to India, Nepal, and blah blah." blah. And she's like, "Yeah,
did you
spices.
train there?"
Yeah.
Oh my god!
But when she came in and said, "It smells like India in here," I was like, "Is she brown?"
That's
That's the kind of thing that we say to each other. Like me and my brothers, we'd be like, we walk past somewhere and it smells like of sulfur and shit and stuff, and we'd be like, "Oh, it smells like India."
Not all parts of it smell like that, I'm sure. But
No, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. But it was so nice to have someone that is, again, really approachable, like a great leader in terms of, she leads from the front. She does stuff, and that was really surprising. I remember Hannah would get frustrated, saying, "I can't believe Sandy's chipping in, cleaning the
she was like,
and stuff."
"What do you want me to do? Where do you want me to put the boxes?" So she came in with that energy of like, the teacher who left halfway through the year, and then that new teacher had to take over, and she was literally like cleaning the cupboards, wiping the board with a proper copra, not with a cloth, rather than the board rubber.
She was that reminds me of the boardroom. Remember the guy? Did I tell you about the guy at my school? There was this guy that came in from another class, and he was saying, "Oh, can we please borrow some wet paper towels and put it under the sink?" And the teacher's like, "Why?" She's like, "Oh, because Mrs. Farley's used permanent marker on the whiteboard." Oh my God. Permanent marker. It's called permanent for a reason. What? Remember the tissues we had at school? Why were they so cool? It was like sandpaper.
It was dreadful. That's why I was so relieved when that happened. So our tutor left. Our form group tutor, and then when the new tutor came in, she came in and she brought every day, bless her, she would go and wet a cloth, a duster cloth, and then she would wipe the board with it. And I was like, "I like you," because that kind of went with my cleaning tendency. Because I'd always look at that board and think, "I want to clean it properly." There's something really reassuring about the board being cleared properly.
I hated it when they would leave a little bit. The teacher would just quickly go through. It's like, "You've missed a bit."
Oh God! And when they got chalk on their hands, or sometimes when they'd be wiping it with the chalk rubber, and then they would kind of scratch their nail on it, and you'd be like, "Oh!" God, that's terrible.
I'm just going to say something that's going to trigger you.
Yeah.
We had electronic whiteboards as well in high school.
No, so my school,
not juniors, high school.
Well, high school, because we were underfunded so badly that we only had blackboards, really old. So we even had the blackboards which you could revolve around. No. But then
we had those we had them at the beginning, and then they changed them.
And they changed them.
Yeah.
But in sixth form, when I went to the posh rich school, we had the whiteboards.
Electronic white ones, they were amazing.
And they were well, actually not electronic, but the teachers were so rich they could afford multicolored pens.
Yes.
So you'd come into the board and it looked like a bloody a piece of, it looked like
a rainbow. It was like some Pride Month.
Yeah, honestly, it was like you're in the National Gallery or something and looking at Monet, because everything was beautifully written out and laid out, and they would be like, make sure you write it all down. And then they would only wipe the board, education. But anyway, we digress. So Captain Sandy is that teacher.
She is that teacher that you just wanted to impress and want to please, and I think that's I think it depends on what your preferred management style is.
Yeah,
I like someone like that that's more empowering through kind of reinforcement and showing their contribution.
Dominant top.
Exactly. And she's just a powerful woman. I just respect, especially in that industry, because she talks about how difficult it is for her through her journey of trying to prove herself in a male dominated world. And I think that's also the case for a lot of the people that worked on the deck. So
correct.
Malia mentioned being a bosun in like a male dominated environment. It's not actually, some of the characters in recent seasons you'll see, they are still afraid of coming out to the people that work on the deck, because they've been given like some horrible abuse from like some of their captains even. Mm-hmm. So I think she just stands for something which we need to see more of, and we will.
She's definitely a breath of fresh air. It's interesting, isn't it? Because Below Deck is quite very big, glossy, and very American, very larger than life. Yeah. And BDM, Below Deck Mediterranean, it feels more experimental, and it feels there's something much more. It's
edgier, I think.
Yeah, there is definitely an edgy, and it feels more European in its flavour,
which is why it's better.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So moving on. So why is Hannah allowed to keep her job when she is such a toxic cow?
I didn't know how you felt about it, because I was meaning to ask you, because I feel like it's two things. is it possible to do the job that you're doing as a chief stew and be really likable? I mean, I think you can be, but I think to be really likable, I think it's probably challenging. And the other part is, I think they intentionally pick and cast someone for that role that is going to trigger people, because ultimately, the latest season, you'll see the chief stew is, very, amicable, and there's less drama around her.
Yeah.
So I think she was cast for that.
Yeah. She was obviously cast for a drama. I think it's this in the sense that, like, if I was going on a cruise, which I will do one day.
When you're cruising, you said.
When I'm cruising as well. Exactly. When I'm cruising, I want I want the chief stew to give me a proper servicing, if you know what I mean. But I just mean
the stew.
But I've been like in really posh places before, and like you'll get someone like a Hannah who just does it, clearly expects all the benefits. So when it comes to tips and being praised and being told, oh, you've done a fantastic job, but isn't willing to put the work in. Like, so there was this whole thing about her not teaching. Do you remember Lara in the season? Lara,
the Italian.
No. Oh yeah. So Lara, the Italian. Who was the girl who got her finger caught in the door and was banging that hot South African model, Robert? What was her name again? The one who looks like Angelina Jolie. Like whenever she wore a bikini, everyone was just like, "Oh my god, you're so hot."
Not the one.
Do you know the one with she had green eyes? Oh god, what was her name?
Blonde hair.
Brunette. She was really sexy.
I can't. Oh, wait a minute.
Just in season 5. Oh my god, her name has just slipped out of my mind. Because I was thinking of Lara, but then she replaced Lara.
I can't remember her.
But she's absolutely stunning. I will try and remember her name at some point. But she didn't know how to do laundry. Was it Jess? No, Jess. Yeah, it was Jess.
Oh, was it Jess?
Jess, yeah, it was Jess. So then it was Jess, Bugsy, and who was the third person they got in? Oh, I can't remember. My mind is all scrambled. But essentially, she didn't remember. Captain Sandy kept saying the laundrette looks awful.
Oh,
and
yes,
then she kept on saying,
remember.
And then like Hannah wouldn't train her up. Hannah would just be and of course we've got to come to this. June Hannah.
Oh.
Which is now our cosign. Whenever I come, every voice note starts with June Hannah.
It's epic. It's just like when we know it, you know what's so epic about that moment? Hannah was trying to throw Hannah under the bus. She was so close to her that she could have just heard her without even using the mic. But she purposely whispered it into the mic like June Hannah. I was like, she could have heard you. You don't want her to pick it up because you want to make an example of her.
And that's what I mean. It was that kind of thing. Like I worked with someone like that recently who was just more involved in like the minute, doing stuff like that than actually doing their job. And if they'd just done their job and got on with it. So when like Captain Sandy used to say to Hannah, is yachting her passion? No, it isn't. No. She was absolutely spot on. Like, she would say like, the table, like, she wanted the table like all set up, and she wanted, that, because like Bugsy couldn't do enough for you. If you were like bend over Bugsy, she's like ready to. But that's what you want on that. If I paid 50 grand or something to charter a yacht, everyone needs to do what I say, because that's the nature of the job. Like at the end of it, you get a really big tip. And
I just had a flashback of, with Bugsy.
Yeah.
When, because she's very good at table decors, isn't she? And then Hannah gets so annoyed with her. And she was like, oh, effing Bugsy's wearing a table decor as an outfit. I was like, I did think that when I saw the outfit, I was like, you know what, you're definitely going to get rents for that. And she did, because she's one of those girls that you the ones that just overdo it a little bit with the. I mean, you know what? I like it. It is like table decor, but she was wearing it.
Do you know what? Bugsy is hen party energy. She's the organizer. She's the one who sets up the WhatsApp group, collects the contributions, makes sure that everyone pays for it.
And then she makes sure everyone knows afterwards that she didn't expect it, but she wants everyone to recognize how much she did.
And then, like, when the stripper starts waving his willy in her face, she's like, no, she's not about that life. No. She'll just, like, make sure everyone's drinks, she'll be like, oh, the Prosecco's not chilled. I'm going to go and complain about it. I mean, but I did like Bugsy in the sense that she's
reliable.
Exactly. And she created a lot of reassurance and, she trained Jess up, and then suddenly the laundry wasn't a problem. And even Captain Sandy pointed out, she said you just needed to be shown the system. Once you knew the system, it was easy. Yeah. So the fact that Hannah wouldn't do those things and take that time, she'd just be like, oh, I saw your CV. And also the way she was, I also got this kind of, and I do say this about a lot of people, and you'll probably be like, oh, he always says this, but I do find her very passive aggressive, and I do find her a bit racist as well, in the sense that I always found that when she was dealing with someone who was not white, so Lara, for example, Italian. Do you know what I mean? I'm in sketchy territory here, but I mean in the sense that she would have a certain way about her with certain people and not with others.
Yeah.
And that used to really get on my tits, because I was just like, you could see that you just don't like this person because
you're prejudiced.
Yeah, you're prejudiced and you're not giving them a chance. And then, but by the same token as well, I will also concede Hannah, June, she did not give her a chance whatsoever. There was clear that June was going through something, or there was something.
Yeah, she lost her father.
Lost her father. She was grieving, and also I think the shock of the camera being on her all the time.
Yeah.
But that was still kind of, I just feel the way Hannah dealt with that was really bad.
It was,
because she could have trained her up and made her feel better.
She's insecure. She doesn't want to do the job anymore in the way that she did. And you've seen the drama kick off in season 5, haven't you?
Yeah,
with when Hannah gets.
Oh, can we talk about that? Because that is, I don't know why the school metaphors are coming in.
There's so many. That was like going to detention, like the principal's office.
Do you know what that was? That was Malia as head girl grassing up a prefect. Because I love it, you know, when there's the picture shown and she's like, you brought drugs on board and stuff like that. And then she's like, who? And then she even says, like, I think it's Jess asks her, who told Captain Sandy? And even Hannah's like, probably Malia. Because she couldn't bunk with her boyfriend. I love that shit.
It's true though. I do think Malia, when she had that fight with Hannah, she just thought, I'm going to dob her in.
Yeah, she just she knew about the Valium, and she's like, and do you know, because they actually for the first time on E4 showed the reunion episode. Did you see the reunion episode?
Wait a minute, did they do one?
So they did it on Zoom though.
You know, I did. And they kept going. But the thing is, Hannah was obviously lying.
Yeah,
she had definitely taken that Valium.
She's like, it's not Valium, isn't it? And
it was a lie. And then she was like, it's prescription and all this kind of stuff. I think she just got caught in a lie, and she didn't. And she showed her she didn't have any integrity. But what made me laugh as well is, you know, it was like going to the headmaster's office, and then there was the first mate who isn't it? You know what's interesting about the show is
where they pop up from?
They just pop up out of nowhere sometimes, and they're like, he just had his head down, he was looking away, and she's like, Captain Sandy's like, you know, this is a serious matter, you know, I've got HR involved, or whatever it was. I was like, oh my God.
It's like the deputy headmaster. Deputy head pulled from his important classes.
And the first mate is clearly like, I don't want to be on camera, but I have to be here now. And he's just like facing away, head down. And it's funny, isn't it? Because on the show, clearly either they must have said, we can't have everybody on in the production because it's a safety issue or something, because they don't have, like, the first officer or the first engineer, they're not, or the first mate, they're not a part of the cast,
no,
are they?
They're absolutely not. They always
They get introduced at a safety issue.
Well, I don't know. I think they get introduced at the beginning, but they're probably because they're dull as fuck.
No,
so they're not going to get any.
They're really hot sometimes.
Oh really?
Yeah. I mean, I like how that's defining whether someone's dull or not. In my
well, then they must be very useful.
They're very excited. Though there was one guy, I can't remember who it was. It was when. I think it must have been in the latest season, and someone had a cold or something, had to share with another room, and they were trying to share with the first mate, and I was like, I'll share with him, so you guys can bug off, I'll take that room with him.
Because the only time they pop up as well is like kind of so when Rob, the South African model, do you remember when he was like meant to go Bali with Jess, and then he gets offered that cruise to, like, you have to do a certain amount of hours, so they were taking the and then he's like, and then suddenly this roommate was like, no, he's like, hey, yeah, I'm going to take the internship. And it's
That's it. Yeah, because he was talking to the first man. That guy was hot, wasn't he?
I can't remember. Because I was more kid. Like, you know, but that was so funny.
Yeah,
oh
he
my
did.
God.
He ended up going with it. And then they ended up.
No, he went to Bali.
He's an idiot.
So, but then,
that relationship was so toxic, wasn't it?
Do you remember when, oh my God, Aisha, and she's like, oh, you guys.
Oh, no.
It'd be like, Aisha, the great service today.
It's like, shut
and then when she was with Jack as well, and Jack's like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck her in it. And she was like,
she was like, remember with the boyfriend? And then sort of like, oh, no, like, oh my
God. Oh my God, it was like,
yeah, I mean, to be fair, I did judge that all the time, but then I realized that, you know what, I think it isn't fake. I think she's just trying to be happy because she has been through some shit.
She's been through so much. And do you know what? To be honest with you, I'd rather have a Bugsy, Aisha, and someone like June.
June.
Do you know, at least June would stay out of the way and not talk to me. And that's exactly what I want. Oh, bless June. Oh. But anyway, so who was your favourite character and why? Was it Collie Wally?
I didn't remember Colin until you wrote that, you know.
Colin. Oh, Collie Wally. He loves the show tune. He's from New York. He's so close with his parents.
He is such a good boy.
He's such a sweetie. He's got that permanent tan line on his thighs.
Oh, he had an amazing body.
He was
hiding
really,
that.
yeah. And he was just so. But I also really liked Alex in season 5 as well.
So the thing is, I lose memory of so many of
So
them.
Alex was the one who liked Bugsy. He had a beard. He was quite.
Oh,
he
he
was
was
berry.
lovely. He was a teddy bear.
Yeah, he's really sweet, and like Bugsy was just kind of like, oh, I don't. And she'd get. She was so funny. Bugsy reminded me of those girls at university, like who'd be clubbing away, and then like they'd get drunk one night, they'd kiss a boy, and then suddenly like latch onto your side because they would like, I don't want to kiss anyone else now, and the next day deny all knowledge, and it's like, oh girl, come on, you were eating his tonsils, exactly. Like if we had mobile phones at that time, I'd have uploaded that to Gossip Girl, stat, honestly. But I think Collie Wally was my favorite. Who's been your favorite character?
Colin was lovely. Other than Rocky, who I think is still one of the... But she's original below deck, isn't she? I'm trying to remember. I mean, you know what? I did like Joao, even though he was so annoying, because he was like in that relationship with that really annoying British girl. I've forgotten her name now. Really dull one.
Was it Julia? No, not Julia. Julia was in the first one.
I can't remember, but she was so... like putting up with so much crap. There was that blonde girl that Joao was trying to go for.
Oh yeah, when he kept on hitting on all the girls. Yeah.
It was so out of order.
And I like what he said to Hannah, "You're 30 years old and you need to go."
It's like you go suck a bag of dicks.
Yeah.
she was so angry at that girl. She's like, this is the guy you want to be with. She was like, the guy that tells me to suck a bag of dicks.
I mean, he got our blessing after that, and he was better in the next season, wasn't he? When he matured and calmed down a bit.
He was a liability in so many ways, but I just found there was something about him that relationship he had with Captain Sandy was quite nice because they had that kind of mother-son kind of relationship. Yes,
definitely. I think that's what the great thing about Captain Sandy was, that she was able to forge those relationships with Malia and with Joao, and she wanted everyone to do their best, and when they did their best, like I like that at the tip salon meeting, she'd always be like, you did a great job with the laundry, or you did a great job with this. That was really, really good. All right, well, do you know what? We are going to wrap this up, so I'm going to take it to the bridge. Okay, so whether it's the Fab Five or All Crew on Below Deck Mediterranean, like all good reality shows, these two titles have been inducted into the TPIM Reality TV Hall of Fame, which means, so Sunny, I'm just going to remind you of the fabulous prizes that are available to them.
You've got 3 phones.
Exactly. So
there's only 2 of us?
There's only 2 of us. They are still in the running to win a $100,000 tax break, a contract with a top streamer other than the one they're currently with, and a digital spread in an elite fashion magazine.
AKA the podcast is my podcast page.
Exactly. My podcast, exactly. So yeah, the fact that they can still like inspire conversation and create change beyond their initial 45 minutes is just incredible, and that's why we've inducted them into our Hall of Fame. So if you have yet to watch these, or you need something to watch, then please do check them out. Anyway, I think it's time to head over to the OnlyFans Lounge, don't you?
Ding, ding, clink, clink.
There we go. So for the OnlyFans Lounge today, we are going to play Shag, Marry and Kill.
Oh, it's a good idea.
Right. So for Queer Eye, Sunny, who would you shag?
I would shag Karamo.
Oh, okay. Very nice. I don't know why I went O.
Because everyone calls him the redundant one, but I like him.
Exactly. We are employing him in permanent position, full contract, all benefits. And who would you marry?
Anthony. Sorry.
And who would you kill?
I'm sorry. Because then you could replace him and be the fashion one.
See
how thoughtful I am.
I'm your girl. You're my girl. We're your girls.
Damn right.
Because that's our first Destiny's Child. Oh my God. That's the only reference we made to Destiny's Child today. Oh
Only
my God. That's ridiculous. And not even from the writings on the wall.
Oh my God. That was their last album, Destiny's Fulfilled.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
Can you imagine? We almost let an episode slip where we didn't mention it.
No. Next time
It's the thread that runs through this entire season.
Episode. Okay, so tell me about yours.
So for me, I would say Shag would also be Karamo.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a good one. I think I'd marry Bobby.
Oh yeah, good choice.
He would do all the house, and he's just so lovely and dependable. Get me a discount at Target. It's just be amazing, honestly. And then I think Kill would be Anthony because he's so god.
But then he's my husband. But then okay, that's fine.
Then you're a hoe anyway. You're a hoe. Just take the settlement and go find somebody else.
I'm glad you said that.
You can marry somebody. I just think Anthony needs to step it up a lot more. Like I want to see him if you cook a tarka dal or cook some saag and some paneer or something, and then I will.
He does need to go on a cooking class.
I just think it's so dull. Like, just put cilantro over everything. No, no. I'm sorry.
Is
That's
that
not
coriander?
the answer.
It's coriander, isn't it?
Is it coriander?
Yeah, it's coriander.
It's the thing. Whatever your mum puts in the cooking, and you
It's
want
coriander. I love coriander. I live for it.
Oh,
Anyway.
Learning so much about you
Shag,
today.
marry, and kill
for below deck. So
I'll
go first. Okay. So shag would probably be Alex.
Okay, yeah, agree.
Marry Collie Wally.
Oh.
Of course, little Collie Wally. And then I would kill or throw overboard Bobby.
You know what? Initially I thought hot, but
remember I sent you that picture, but then after that we were just like, he's just gross. Honestly,
no,
gross.
Not having it.
So who would you shag?
Okay, I would probably shag Tom, the chef. I know why.
Sorry, I wasn't ready for that. Locking himself in the kitchen cupboard. No, it's very frustrating. The fish is not 12 degrees. This is dreadful. It should be wrapped up and put in the freezer.
It's like, Malia, I am a chef. This defines me. I don't care about the guests. I don't fucking care. I was like, oh my God, is there any chef that isn't completely bonkers? Because remember when that chicken goes out and he goes to punch the wall? I'm like, no, it's not that deep. But then I think to he was trained by Gordon Ramsay.
He's Gordon Ramsay, and you could tell. It really comes, but it's so funny. Do you remember when he goes down for a nap and he only gets like 18 minutes and he's like, for fuck's sake, I have to get up. And then Sandy's like, write it on the board. That killed me.
Funny. And then when I think Bugsy went down, and I think the guest wanted one more bit of the
was it cucumber or something?
No, it was something. And he was like, "Can we please have one more of the squid or something?" And he was like, "Oh yes, of course." He's so frustrated, but he's just like has to still be polite, but still be really angry. I was like, it's so British. I loved it. I just think he'd probably be quite passionate. That's why I was shagged.
Wow, okay.
And then...
Well, he always got good reviews for his food, so...
Yeah, sure. And he fed the crew well, apparently. I'm sure Malia got fed well. And then...
Spicy sausage.
Kill would 100% have to be Ben.
Oh, God, yes.
Please.
Yes.
You kill Bobby, I will kill Ben.
Do you know, we'll hide the bodies. Yeah, we got that.
We'll toss them. We'll let them float and they'll be happy.
We'll record our podcast on the cruise.
And then my marry?
Yeah.
Captain Sandy! I would. I totally would. I have a massive crush on her.
I hate. I'm sorry to break this to you on the podcast, but I don't think she'd be interested in you.
Oh damn!
Do you remember she mentioned that like she's
no? I thought she was.
Partner.
I thought she said she is fluid.
No. Oh, she's fluid.
Well, maybe
maybe you could change her mind.
She'd be the only woman.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Well, do you know there's one more game we're going to play now, and
Okay,
that's called "The Podcast Is Mine."
No, it's mine.
We hope you've enjoyed listening to The Podcast Is Mine. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our podcast and share it with a friend. You can also follow us on all the socials. On Instagram, TikTok, Facebook and YouTube, we are The Podcast Is Mine. And on Twitter, we are Podcast Is Mine. Or you can email us at thepodcastismine@gmail.com. Oh, and one more thing, the podcast is mine.